heading over to the spot, pick you up around 9. Meet me in the parking lot, never make it inside. We're getting out of here tonight. Yeah, we'll go anywhere you like. Yeah. 9/11, it's a heist, stole my heart, gave me life. No, I'm right, baby. I don't get my type wrong, yeah. She 11 with the lights on, yeah. Bite my neck just like a python. Breathe it right into my lungs. I took a hit, it's a crit, see my medicine. Before it's all said and done, the two places for the necklace, gotta wipe you up. I'm heading over to the spot, pick you up around 9. Meet me in the parking lot, never make it inside. We're getting out of here tonight. Yeah, we'll go anywhere you like. I'm no breaking, cop lights, baby, I'm racing. Cause you're the only music I'm facing. You gon' leave my heart sedated, yeah. She just got it, but she wanted. Fell from heaven, she a weapon when she comes to me. I find it comforting. Though I'm blowing, she got me restrained. Buffering, yeah. I sold the plans for your demands. I need the spare cash to pay my rent. I'm suffering, still covered in break me loose. Stay goodness, baby. I'm heading over to the spot, pick you up around 9. Meet me in the parking lot, never make it inside. We're getting out of here tonight. Yeah, we'll go anywhere you like. I'm no breaking, cop lights, baby, I'm racing. Cause you're the only music I'm facing.
It is that time of the season. It is the season for is the reason for the season. And we here at BC WrestlePod are all about giving you the best content that two random dudes on the internet can give you. Take that as you will. But I don't know. These intros are getting crazier and crazier. But welcome, BC WrestlePod Internet, and welcome to another rendition of the All Elite Ensemble review. But this is a special rendition. This is the final bell edition of our All Elite Ensemble review today. What does that mean? I will tell you in a little bit. But I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and joining me this evening is my compadre, my partner in arms, my better half, my work husbando, if you will. Adolfo is in the house. Hello, my friend.
And then there were two.
And then there were two. And then by 2025, there will only be one. Just kidding. We'll talk about it. Well, actually, right now, there's still only going to be two, but the second person for 2025 may be hit or miss. We'll see what happens. I'm going to have to go do this by myself. I'm just kidding. We're fine. We'll be fine. We got lots of things coming down the pipeline. Stay tuned for all those announcements next week, but we are here to review. All Elite Ensemble is here to review, I should say. All of AEW programming from this past week. We got a lot to talk about. In this final bell edition, we're going to quickly cover this week's shows. We're going to talk about World's End because we will not have shows leading into World's End of what we have so far. We're going to talk about Continental Classics, though, because we're getting close to the end. And then we're also going to talk about things we liked and disliked in AEW in 2024. We're going to try to keep that in under an hour and a half or an hour or so. We'll see what happens. I say that, and then it never happens. Check out our podcast on Sunday because we went 2.5 hours before we had to call it. My goodness. But let us just jump straight into this. Of course, follow us on the social medias at BC Wrestling Pod anywhere and everywhere. Merch in the link below of this video. Now let's get into it because we got a speed run through everything we want to get through tonight because we're going to start with Dynamite. Specifically, you smell that in the air. She has unthawed for the season. Hit the Mariah Carey whistle note because winter is coming. And that is exactly
winter is coming.
And that is exactly what was the entirety of AEW programming this past week. The Winter is Coming editions of Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. And I am here to give you everything that you need to know for, Winter is Coming and Dynamite. I'm not going to really talk about the backstage segments because those led into matches and things that happen on Rampage and Collision. So I'm going to stick to the important bits of the matches and, things that are happening for World's End. So, Dynamite, for some reason, kicked off with this match. I thought this was when they announced this, I was like, oh, this might be the main event. It's got everybody involved. No, we opened Dynamite up with this tag team match. Pac and Jon Moxley taking on Jay White and Orange Cassidy. Obviously, this was a pretty solid match. It didn't get to go very far that it was because Hangman Admiral Page does insert himself in this match 15 minutes in, causing a no contest disqualification, which then leads into what we all knew was going to happen. It was a brawl. Jay White and Hangman and Orange were attacking Moxley, and then Hangman attacked Orange. Orange fought, Hangman. Accidentally, Orange punched Jay White. Jay White delivers the Blade Runner. Everybody's just fighting. And
they all have big egos. Yes, I'm the only one that doesn't have an ego.
Calm down. Hey. Well, all this fighting between Jay, Orange, and Hangman allowed Mox and crew to get the heck out of Dodge, which then we'll talk about it more into details, but I want to put this on record. I put this in our group chat when it happened. Sometimes I hate being right, y'all. And Mox then cuts his promo backstage later in the show, which sets up a fatal four-way for the AEW World Championship at World's End. More to come on that when we cover World's End news. I really like this match. Of course, I figured shenanigans were going to happen. And then, of course, in the background, we also have Christian Cage looking on like a vulture, which is nuts. So it doesn't matter. He cuts his promo and then Hooks beat his ass. I don't know why he sent Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne to go do stuff backstage because nobody was there protecting Christian Cage, and Hook came in and beat his ass in the skybox. It was kind of fun to watch.
For whatever reason, Hook's rolling stealth with advantage nowadays. All he puts on is that damn black hoodie and tosses it over his head. And woo!
Bro, and he was wearing camo shorts too. Like it was the full it's the full regalia. And because this is a feud that everybody wanted to see, not really, we're finally getting to build to this because we're getting Nick and Kip Sabian, and I believe this upcoming Tuesday, taking on Hook and Shibata. I was like, finally, we're putting Shibata and Hook back together. I've missed them as a duo. Now I need Samoa No Mama's Joe to come back. Missed that dude too. So again, not really good. The only backstage segment I'm going to mention, then I'm going to get to the rest of the matches for the evening that is of importance because it does lead into what went down later in the week. Private Party is chilling with the Bubbly and their titles. And then, Leo Rush and Action Andretti come out. They want a shot at the titles. So does Top Flight because then they come in. So Private Party makes the stipulation, and this is World's End related because there's going to be a match later in the week between Action and Leo versus Top Flight. Winner gets to face Private Party for the tag team titles at World's End. More to come when we get down to Collision. So let me just run through the rest of this because winter is coming. It was a crazy show. Like, we just didn't really have too many backstage segments, and we just had matches. Because next one I want to talk about, banger. This was my favorite match of Dynamite's Winter is Coming. Claudio Castagnoli versus the Billy Goat Punisher version of Will Ospreay. This is a fantastic match. We'll talk about more of this, but Will picks up the win here. And we'll talk about what those implications mean in the Gold League when we cover Continental Classic stuff. But this, for me personally, was my match of the entire night. And that's saying something because I really enjoyed most of the matches that happened. This was not one of them. Well, I say that because the in-ring was good. It's just that, I was bored because I already knew what the outcome was going to be. If they really wanted to pull a swerve, no Strickland, they could have had Kyle O'Reilly win here and then get decimated by MJF, causing Adam Cole to be like, you took out Roddy, you took out Kyle, so now I'm going to come for you. But no, Adam Cole wins. Undisputed King. MJF tries to cause a DQ and tries to get Adam to lose in the match by knocking him out when the ref was distracted. He gets perfectly kicked in the face, which was a really nice sell from MJF. But Adam Cole ends up picking the victory here. He moves on to face MJF at World's End for the stupid diamond ring. I'm like, sure. Kyle's still not having it. He doesn't go to shake Adam Cole's hands. He just rolls out and leaves. He's done with everybody. I'm like, all right. I want to care more about the story, Dynamite, but you haven't given me anything. Yeah. I'm like, Kyle O'Reilly's just being sad.
Yeah, we'll talk again. We'll talk about that later, though.
Yes, that's World's End. Got a lot to get through. Yes. Banger. Ricochet getting booed. That was crazy to me.
Interesting.
Also, my baby daddy. That is all. I'm just kidding. Look, funny enough, side tangent. I was rewatching this yesterday with my friend, and for some reason he asked me, so who just pick one AEW on the roster, woman and man, what do you do? And I was like, oh, the man's easy. It's Brody King, duh. And he's like, why? I was like, okay, so if you're going to give me two answers, there's this person who I would go on a date with. We have spent some time together because they're beautiful. If I want somebody to step on me, it's Brody King. Step on me, senpai. And that was the same thing with Rhea Ripley. I would never say I wouldn't date someone who looked like Rhea Ripley because I love her. She is mommy, but she is more, I'm with her because step on me, senpai. Anyways, what's up, Robert? You came in at the weirdest time ever, but anyways, what's up? But Ricochet versus Brody King was fun. Ricochet getting booed because he used the exposed turnbuckle to his advantage was nuts. I never thought Ricochet would get booed so early.
Yeah.
And, I would be excited for Will versus Ricochet coming up down the pipeline, but I'm like, we've had these two fight twice already. You took the magic away already. You didn't keep them apart far enough. But it is what it is. Brody King once again loses, and I am mad. Ricochet wins. This main event slapped. As I figure it would. Mariah versus Mina. This was the right choice to make this the main event, and I was worried they were not going to let this be the main event. And they did. These girls got 18 minutes. It was great. Mariah May, not to say that she's looked bad in her previous title defenses, but because of who her dance partner is and they have chemistry together, being a tag team in Stardom not too long ago, this is the best Mariah has ever looked, and I love her too.
What's good, Robert?
Robert, we love you here. You're like, outside of our friend Nick to the channel, Nick, you are also our friend to the channel because you are always supporting us, bud. But back to this. Mariah, look, this is the best she's looked in the title defense. Mina looks great. I'm excited for Mina in the next couple of months because she's going to be all over the place. She's going to the UK. She has a match against our TBS championship at Dynasty for the New Japan Women's Strong title. But she's also going to put her Rev Pro women's title on the line too. So if Mina can retain her championship after facing Dani Luna in the next couple of weeks, it will be title for title match between Mercedes and Mina. Man. Give the strong title to Mina. Anyways, but this slapped. But of course, this match was fantastic. And at the end, we get to the return/debut of Toni Storm. Not the timeless one. She's not here. But it is rock and rolla Toni Storm. This character she's playing like she just got here. this amnesia thing, if it is amnesia, like
Oh yeah, no, there's more to come on this, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. But that is my short review of Winter is Coming. The matches were great. Backstage stuff really only led to what was going down on Rampage and Collision. But the other thing too is FTR called out the Death Riders. So I was like, y'all boys have a death wish? Anyways, but that has been my report of Dynamite Winter is Coming. So now, Rampage. Oop, well, no, back that up. We're going to talk about you later. Shh,
Yep.
later. Anyways, let's jump to Winter is Coming Rampage.
Yep.
Almost to the final ones of Rampage.
Just the tip.
Anyways,
Just the tip.
it's a sad just the tip.
There we
go.
You go. Yep, we are getting close to Rampage 177, which is the end. But on the 13 December edition of Rampage, Winter is coming. I am going to run through this because, again, we are going to kind of have a big conversation afterwards. So we had the Bad Apple Brian Keith versus the complete Matt Cardona. And Matt Cardona does come up with the win on this one with his radio silence. Got the 1-2-3 pin. We had Tony Storm versus Harley Cameron. Tony Storm does win with the Storm Zero, 1-2-3. Then we had the Vendettas, the Virtuosa, Deonna Purrazzo versus Shaza McKenzie. Deonna wins via submission armbar. And then am I going the right way? I'm going the wrong way.
Okay. Don't forget, we also had Don.
You just really there we are. Then we had Powerhouse Hobbs and Mark Davis versus Konosuke Takeshita versus Lance Archer of the Don Callis family fame. And we had Hobbs and Davis come out with the win. Hobbs with hitting his spine buster and getting the 1-2-3 on Lance Archer. And that was your 13 December Rampage. Like I said, we're gonna talk about everything kind of like
because this win for Hobbs has World's End implications, which got officially made.
Yep. So then this brings us to the 14 December Collision.
Winter is coming.
But our first match, we had a lot of spots in the beginning here. Oh yeah, that's right. Our first match opening up was Willow Nightingale versus Jamie Hayter for the spot in the Wrestle Dream International Women's Cup. Jamie Hayter, sorry, I apologize. Willow Nightingale hits the Babe with the Power on Jamie Hayter and gets the 1-2-3. Very clean win, very sporting win. Stuff did happen. Again, we're gonna get to that.
I'm so happy.
Yep. After that, we had the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada versus Lawyer Beast Mortos. And Okada wins with the Rainmaker, getting the 1-2-3 pin on Beast Mortos. We then had Tony Storm versus Shaza McKenzie. Tony Storm wins with the flying ass into the Storm Zero and the 1-2-3 pin, which, hey, Daddy Magic called it the flying ass on Friday night's Rampage. So I have been whatever.
Educated.
He said it, not me.
My goodness.
Yeah, so then boop, more spot. Top Flight with Layla Gray versus Action Andretti and Leo Rush for that shot at Private Party's title. Action Andretti and Leo Rush win. Again, we are going to talk about that later. Then we had Chris Statlander versus Tootie Lynn. Chris Statlander wins by hitting the Saturday night and getting the 1-2-3 pin. Boom. We then had a 10-man tag. Orange Cassidy, the Outrunners, Commander, and Daniel Garcia versus the MXM Collection and the Premier Athletes. Your winners are Orange Cassidy, Outrunners, Commander, and Daniel Garcia. And then we get to the main event. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. And Mark Briscoe wins.
This was wild.
Mark
This was
Briscoe
wild.
wins. And then we have Collision going off the air with the Death Riders going Black Ops on FTR and taking them into a back room and beating them up. All right, now we can start conversating.
All right, so you want to talk about? You want to start with Continental Classic stuff?
Let's start with yeah. Let's start with Continental Classic stuff.
All right, so let's take a look at Gold and Blue League. So we're actually going to start with Blue League first because I'm more excited for Gold coming into this week. But Blue League, we're almost there. Everybody almost has all their matches. So this is where the standings currently have. Kyle Fletcher, go ahead.
Really quick, I will say the Blue League matches this week were a lot better, I felt.
Yes, because I felt, well, one, they were better paced, and number two, like, I was not expecting Mark Briscoe's. But let's talk about these standings real quick. So Kyle Fletcher is still at the top of the Blue League, even with his loss this week against Mark Briscoe. He still currently has 9 points, but because of this loss, there are so many scenarios that can happen. Okada has one more match to go, and that is against, I'm trying to think who he's left on the board. I can't read.
I think it's Shelton.
Benjamin. Yeah. It's Okada versus Shelton. And so Shelton still has 3 matches left. So who knows what's going to happen with this man? I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but can we say that Mortos is out? He's out.
Yeah.
I feel I'm mad that Mortos is just here to eat the pins, which makes me mad.
Yeah.
But this is still kind of close. Daniel Garcia, I also don't want to count out yet because I would not be surprised if we get a tie for first and then a tie for second, and then they got to fight each other to see who gets the true thing. Because with Mark Briscoe's win against Kyle Fletcher, he went from 3 to 6 points, and he has one more match to go, which is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait. It's going to be great. Which,
depending what happens, kind of makes everything look very.
And Okada, when we thought he was out, he is close behind Kyle Fletcher because he's sitting at number 2. But I'm not counting. I'm gonna be honest. Mortos, I love you, but you're no. But everybody else, anything can happen at this point. Shelton Benjamin's got 3 matches to go, so he might win those. Danny has 2 matches. Mark has, and Okada and Kyle only have 1 more match to go. So honestly, Daniel and Shelton could squeeze into this tie and like the points and totally get first or second and squeeze by. I do agree with you. I feel like Blue League did a lot better this week in terms of making it more interesting because last week it was just one-sided where it was not really close. And I will say, though, the biggest surprise last week was Mark Briscoe beating Danny last week. I was not expecting. And then he beat Kyle this week.
And then he beats fantastic. I was actually mad at the Bi-Conics Shadow Council that I had to take notes and I couldn't just sit and enjoy watching the Kyle Fletcher Mark Briscoe match because it was ridiculously good.
You take notes?
Holy cow.
I'm just kidding.
So it starts off with Kyle Fletcher just methodically taking apart Briscoe, right? And then Briscoe starts with the energetic offensive. They do a whole spot
and everything.
They do a whole spot where the 2 of them toss each other out into the audience and then back in from that, which I don't know. Kyle Fletcher doing that somersault off the chair.
Ooh!
I think he might have hurt himself.
Ooh, that was brutal.
Yeah. And then from there, it was just like it was so the way it was built, the way they kept just reversing, then 1-2 oohs, one does their finisher, kick out. Another one does their finisher, kick out. It was just, it was a great match. It was a great match. With 1 match to go, I feel, and so now this is going to be the interesting thing. Beast Martos, even though he is numerically out,
he could still prevent somebody from not making it.
Yep, I was about to say he
just like Danny did last year.
Yep, he can still be a spoiler because his remaining matches are against Briscoe and against Shelton Benjamin. So, that Briscoe match has big implications. So it'll be interesting. I do want to shout out Beast Martos just because the match he had with Okada was a great match. It definitely highlighted their different styles, and I felt it was a really another well-paced, well-written match where I thought Beast Martos was going to pick up his first win.
Right.
So yeah, it was a good week for the Blue League. I feel this is by design that now, like, we're kind of chomping at the bit to see what happens because as they say, it's anyone's ball game right now.
Yeah, Blue League is a lot closer than it was by the end of this week than it was the previous week. But Blue League did great. Now, let's move on to Gold because this is so close. Oh my god.
Yeah, this is nuts.
Like, okay, Commander is but I feel like it's not fair that he had to inherit Juice's 0 from his first match that he lost. I feel like Commander should have got a clean slate and at least but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Because Commander only has 2 matches left, and that's against Claudio and Brody. So, again, could prevent somebody from getting points, which is great. But
I was about to say, he's in the same situation as Beast in that he can play the spoiler, especially to Claudio,
who finally got his first loss in this whole thing so far against Will. And so with that loss, Claudio remains at 6. Will getting at the second victory pulls him up at 6. Ricochet beating Brody this week pulls him up to 6. And then we have Brody and Darby still at 3. Y'all, this is not hyperbole. This is a fact. I do not care. Tomorrow night on Dynamite, the card looks fun, but the match I'm most anticipating is Will versus Darby. This match is going to be nuts. And I'm going to be honest. I think this match is either going to give Will 3 points, Darby 3 points, or they might just go the tie with these two.
I'm leaning towards that each one gets 1 point. I think they're going to go the 20 minutes.
Oh, that'd be so great. I'm just excited because to my knowledge, as of right now, I don't think Will and Darby have really crossed paths like that and wrestled each other in AEW yet. And I'm excited because this is a match. I was like, this is how you do a fun match because Darby is an AEW staple. Will, of course, we know can do his thing. That is a match that I'm really looking forward to. And honestly, I'm calling it now, depending on what happens in that match. I think I would not be surprised if, as we get to this, because Darby has yet to face Claudio either.
Yep.
I would not be surprised if Darby beats Claudio too, because he's coming after Death Riders and he's going to start with Claudio in this tournament.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest right now. If I had to pick right now, I think Will is still my shoe-in to win the Gold League, but I think Darby is going to be fighting Claudio for second place.
Yeah, I'm still leaning towards Ricochet or Ricochet or Claudio. So, if the Darby Commander match is any indication of how Will Darby is going to go down, it's going to be an amazing match. So
that Darby Commander match was amazing. I loved it. It was so good.
Definitely excited.
But yeah, we're getting lots of continental matches this week. We're getting Will versus Darby. I think Ricochet and Will, I think, is also happening next week, I think.
Yep.
Or this. So we got some stuff. Continental Classic, again, like I always said it's always an ever-growing process. I remember last year I wasn't digging it because especially with the Gold League being so dominated by Moxley and Swerve. But I feel like it's a little more even spread. Gold League has my interest still because of the fact of how close it is. And I feel like Gold League is booking everybody a little bit better than Blue right now, but Blue definitely earned some points back for me this week with, the wins and the losses and how closer we're getting to it as well. But that has been our Continental Classic report for this week. And this is the last one of this year and for the Continental Classic as a whole in 2024, because next time we'll be talking about the semifinals and the finals that are going down at World's End. Speaking of World's End, let's talk about that next because, we're not going to be here for the holiday break.
Yep.
Well, we're going to be gone during the holiday break, so the next time you'll see us AEW related is reviewing World's End, but
we have
a lot that's already been announced so far, and with more to come. This is going to be nuts. So
let's get into it.
All right.
I'm excited to talk about this. Oh man. So here's my thing.
Okay, so let's preface. So this is a fatal 4-way for the AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley defending his title against Hangman Aggro Page. Orange, I'm wearing all black Cassidy. And Jay, I'm the Kiwi White.
Yep. All right. So here's my thing. Will the match be good?
Yes.
As a wrestling match, right? Yes. Mox, Hangman, Orange Cassidy, and Jay White, all four of these guys, great workers, great wrestlers. They know how to put on a show, right? But Mikey, I do agree with you. And not to be crass, hopefully this doesn't get us shut off. But they shot their load too fast, AEW, with this. This could have been spread out. And because I don't know, I feel like it takes down some of the gravitas of this match to just have it a fatal 4-way. Because to be honest, like I feel I would bet that Mox is going to win, right? The only thing that will be, in my opinion, this is my own opinion, right? That will be a saving grace in this if Mox wins is if Christian Cage then cashes in and is able to get the belt from Jon Moxley.
Ooh, that's interesting. So I have a completely different opinion. So I already don't like this. I think in-ring I know it's going to be good. I just hate that we just bypass potentially having Mox go one-on-one with Hangman, one-on-one with Jay, and then making it a fatal 4-way in some capacity down the line, because then you could collect all the Infinity Stones of the people who hate Moxley. Now Mox has to fight them all at once after beating them one-on-one. But we bypassed all that and going straight. So this is already not a fun way to do this. The only saving grace, and as much as I love Orange, the only way that I will be okay with it in terms of, potentially booking this for future stuff down the line, since Mox is probably going to hold this for a bit, Orange needs to be the one to get pinned in this match. Because if Hangman gets pinned or Jay White gets pinned, then you take 2 out of the 3 contenders out, and that only leaves 1, which I guess is fine because then the next pay-per-view for AEW isn't until February with Grand Slam Australia.
Right.
And then you have Revolution in March. But I don't like that because, I don't like that. Shouldn't he go down like that?
Looking into the crystal ball, it would be cool if Orange Cassidy eats the pin in this one, right? Mm-hmm. And then in Australia, it's Mox versus Jay White, and Jay White wins the championship. That'd be cool as well.
That could be a possibility too. And we'll talk about it when we talk about like the things we liked and disliked about an AEW in 2024, but the over-reliance of some of these stars has kind of shot themselves in the foot when trying to tell stories and also try to make new stars with who they have on the roster. I mean, we'll talk about it more in detail, but it only took them 5 years to finally get Private Party a title run. That's crazy.
Right.
They've been there since the beginning, but I digress.
Right.
I conclude by saying this. I think the in-ring for this match is going to be good. It's just that we kind of shot ourselves in the foot with the story, and we'll see what happens. And we could be talking about all this, and then Christian Cage ends up taking it all away anyway. So who knows? Christian Cage.
My last statement on this is I want a stipulation that the Death Riders cannot be at ringside.
I would not be surprised, but we'll see what happens with all of that.
Yep.
So, okay. I am not mad that this match is happening because this is what the inevitable thing that we were building to is. I don't know if I see Adam Cole winning here. I really don't.
I disagree. I think Adam Cole is going to win. I think that MJF is going to lose by his own design. He's going to attempt to do some sort of shenanigans, and it's going to backfire on him. And then Adam Cole will win. I totally get why we're here. Okay. We, with the whole devil, with the whole Adam Cole, with the whole Undisputed Kingdom thing, but then injuries happen, more injuries happened, this happened, and like the footprints of this story got blown away by the wind, right? I'm not happy with how we got back here. You know what I mean? And I fully understand that you can't pause the wrestling show, because the two main people in your big story, got hurt. You know what I mean? I get that. But at the same time, I feel like they could have gotten back to this in a better way.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, it could go 50-50. This is for the Dynamite to Diamond ring, which MJF has been carrying since the inception of this company. Again, I feel like it can go either way. Yeah, that's all. I honestly that's as best as I can give it.
The in-ring is going to be fantastic.
Oh, in-ring's going to be fun. It's just that, again, this is a story that I did not necessarily care about to begin with, but I still think it's going to be fun. And who knows? We are in. It's not in Long Island this year. It's in New York, so we'll figure it out. Anyways,
yep.
I'm 50-50. It could go either way. We'll see what happens. Would not be surprised if Kyle O'Reilly causes shenanigans.
Or what if Big Boom causes shenanigans?
That's also true because MJF fought recently this past weekend in an independent promotion, and him and Big Boom AJ had
They did have a little bit of a thingy thing. So
they have a thingy thing. So now we're getting to the good shit. Do I think Mariah is going to lose? No. But am I excited to see these two women beat the piss out of each other? Yes.
Yep.
And as we've come to learn so far, Thunder Rosa is amazing in these street fight matches she's been having. I still, as silly as it was, I still hold the Dia de los Muertos one that she had with Harley in favor because that one was awesome.
Mariah May is no slouch in these street fights either. Because if memory serves me correctly, she was in a street fight. And it was very good. If memory serves me correctly.
Yes, so. Mariah May and Anna Jay had a no DQ street fight type of match too.
Yeah, yes,
a rubber match between the two, and that match was awesome. So
yeah,
I'm just excited to see what is going to go down between these two. I'm happy that they didn't wait till the week before, be like, here's a women's match we're gonna put on here. Yay!
Right.
Also, Thunder Rosa is my hero from Dynamite with those signs and selling the facial expressions perfectly. Like when Tony Stark came in, she held the what the sign up.
Right.
Thunder's so underrated.
Please, AEW, you did good at Full Gear. Let this match have the time to cook. Give this match the gravitas that it should have. Don't just make it a 9-minute, a 9-minute disappointment.
I need a 15-minute match between these two. Come on now.
And that's what I mean, because I know this match is going to be so good. So good. But if you do what you normally do in the pay-per-views and make it like a 9, trying to cram this fantastic match into 9 minutes, it's going to not work. You need to give these two 15 minutes, and the paper will, the money will print itself. You know what I mean?
This match is gonna slap.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping maybe we get an appearance from Toni Storm, which causes Mariah May to freeze up, and then Thunder Rosa to maybe get the title back. I know I'm
that's a long shot. I'm not hating on it, but
that would be kind of cool. Because I feel that Mariah, especially after taking down Mina, is at that place where she needs to be brought down.
A peg or two, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, I want to see Thunder with another run too.
Right. And with the way that Tony's come back, and with the characterization that she's doing, I don't think it would do it justice if they all of a sudden put Toni Storm in February for the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Although it is in Australia, is in on her home turf. Thunder Tony in Australia would be cool as well. But yeah, no, those are my thoughts.
I love them. This match is gonna slap.
It is.
This match is also gonna slap,
Yo.
literally and metaphorically. These are two big men that are about to decimate each other. But this is, technically, this is the most recent singles match that was made, and this is for the AEW International Championship. So this is Konosuke Takeshita defending his title against Powerhouse Hobbs.
I want to jump back to Rampage and that tag team match that Hobbs and Davis had against Takeshita and Lance Archer, and how Takeshita kept ducking Hobbs, and Lance Archer was just offered like a sacrificial lamb to Powerhouse Hobbs, and he just decimated him. And the whole time Takeshita's like, nope, so I am ready. I am ready for this grudge match. I will be happy if Takeshita wins. I would be even more happier if Powerhouse Hobbs walks away with gold. I know that that's probably not going to happen, but I feel, especially had Powerhouse not been sidelined with his injury, I feel that he's ready for some gold, some sort of gold.
Oh my goodness, I would be so excited for it. Now, this also is interesting too, because as of right now, Takeshita doesn't have any other title matches except for this one at World's End. Again, not to spoil anything, but if Takeshita is able to keep his international championship by the end of World's End, he will be going on to Wrestle Kingdom, which then against his match against Shingo Takagi, because right now it's Takeshita versus Shingo Takagi for the never openweight championship. And if Takeshita can hold on to the international championship at the end of World's End, then it becomes a title for title match between Shingo and Takeshita for both titles. And then the winner of that match is going to go to Wrestle Dynasty the next night to face Tomohiro Ishii for the titles.
Nice.
So New Japan knows that's how to set them up.
Really quick sidebar. I wish AEW allowed their wrestlers to do what CMLL does, and if they win a belt from another promotion, to wear it.
Right.
I
Mina
would love
is the Rev Pro Women's UK champion. Let her come down with the Rev Pro.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there.
It's so weird. Yeah, there's also a lot about, if we have time, we could talk a little bit about Dynasty, because there's a couple of AEW folks who are about to head to Dynasty and to Wrestle Kingdom too, which are happening in 2 weeks. Oh my God.
Nope.
Anyways, so the only other thing that has been announced so far for World's End is that the semifinals and the finals for the Continental Classic will be happening here. So the semifinals are going to be the winner of the Gold League versus the runner-up of the Blue League, and then the winner of the Blue League versus the runner-up of the Gold League. The winners of those two matches will then face each other in the finals to become the Continental Champion for this year's Continental Classic. Cool.
That's cool.
So with the matches that we talked about so far, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 and 6. So far, we have 6 matches so far for World's End. And we have this week, and we have 2 weeks until World's End. So Tony Khan will put in like 17 more, including 0 Hour.
I was about to say, like, we know more will be added. I feel, how many matches did last year's World's End have?
You know what? Let's look it up right now. Fact checker Mikey is on the case.
Because that's the real litmus of how many matches are going to be on World's End this year, you know?
For reals.
I mean, 0 Hour is its own anomaly. They will jam 15 matches into that hour, you know. But yeah.
Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we're not including 0 Hour, there were 10 matches on World's End. If we do include 0 Hour, there were a total of 13.
Damn.
Yeah, so the 10 matches. So I forgot these matches happened last year. God, how much a year has happened, because we had like the matches include the Blackpool Combat Club, Mark Briscoe and Daniel Garcia taking on Brody, Roosh, Jay White, and Jay Lethal in an 8-man tag. So these were the losers of the Continental Classic thrown together in a match.
Yep.
Miro versus Andrade.
We might see that again. Which that was a good match. That was fun.
Timeless Tony Storm versus Riho happened here last year. Swerve. Remember last year, Swerve was supposed to face Keith Lee, but then it was Dustin Rhodes, but last minute because of Keith Lee's injury.
Yep.
And this is the crazy part. Oh, this was also the fun part. Remember, because leading into World's End last year, the stuff with Chris Jericho and Kylie Ray came out. And then Sammy, Sting, and Darby had to team up with Chris, and you could visibly see Darby yelling Chris Jericho, "You piece of shit," and Darby it was a wild time. Julia and Abaddon fought, which was fun.
That I would see Julia Hart making a 0 Hour appearance.
I'm pretty sure they're probably setting up Jamie versus Julia for World's End. Put them on the main card.
Man,
on 0 Hour.
I wouldn't want them.
This Tony Khan we're talking about, Adolfo. You know he gonna do it.
I know, but I need that needs to simmer a little bit.
I agree with you, but Tony Khan don't listen to nobody.
No, I know. But yeah, that's World's End for this year so far.
That's World's End stuff. AEW is going to be busy the next couple of weeks too, because I could pull them up, but what for? We have a bunch of AEW talent that are also going to be busy this Friday too, because Ring of Honor's Final Battle pay-per-view is happening. And if we're going to talk about AEW talent, I'm pretty sure somebody from AEW is going to answer Lee Moriarty's Pure Championship Open Challenge. So Tiger Style will be on the show defending his title. I don't know why it couldn't be Tiger Style versus Matt Taven. We didn't need to do it on ROH television last week, but nobody listens to me. And then we have a Survival of the Fittest match for Brian Cage's ROH Men's Television Championship. And that includes AEW talent. Mark Davis is going to be in there, so I'm excited. But I also really love who else is in there. Comandera's in there. Blake Christian. Mr. Willie Mack is back, and I love Willie Mack. And, of course, friend to the channel, AR Fox is participating in that match. Love AR as well. And, I mean, it's tangentially related, but the match I'm most anticipated for, I'm not even going to lie, is Athena versus Billy Starks for that ROH Women's Championship. Yeah. It is Billy's time. Also, though, Red Velvet versus Legit Layla Hirsch is going to slap. Anyways, that is our World's End report, pay-per-view report. Alrighty, so Adolfo, we have reached the pinnacle where we can vamp for the rest of the show. This is the final bell. We can talk about the good and the bad of AEW this year. I have a couple of talking points, and if anything comes to your mind, you can definitely put it in. But I do want to talk about some good and not so great things that I noticed in 2024.
All right.
Go for it. You start.
One good thing for AEW is we had a lot of big stars coming back from injury.
Yes.
And sticking around. We had Britt Baker come back, which I believe that she's actually been doing some Hollywood stuff. That's why we haven't seen her. So she's actually like not injured. She's just doing Hollywood stuff, but she's going to be coming back. We saw Jamie Hayter come back. We saw Julia come back.
Freaking Cobra Kai this season. It was crazy.
Yeah. MJF, Adam Cole, they came back.
Yep. Julia Hart is back from injury now.
Yep. So, a lot of the
Powerhouse Hobbs too, man.
Powerhouse Hobbs. Yeah. So a lot of big talent is back, and like we had discussed, even though like some of the stories have been kind of sloppy, it is good to see them back, and the matches that they've done this year when they returned have been good matches. The only one that is the exception is the Mercedes Moné Britt Baker match. We still have no idea what happened with that one, but that seems to be the outlier.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one good thing that happened for AEW this year.
That is one good thing from Adolfo. I will follow it up with one good thing, and then I will also give my first bad point too. And this is a little biased in me, and our friend Macho is going to get so mad when I say this because me and him go back and forth about this in a fun way. But one of my talking points is the impact that Will Ospreay has had on AEW since coming in full-time beginning of March earlier this year. Like, I don't care what anybody says. I know he is the term flippy dippy has been thrown around for him for a lot, which is very true. And I know not a lot of people, like there are some people out there who don't like him just because, but I will say you cannot deny how much Will has been put in a big spotlight for AEW, going on to be their international champion, having 2 title reigns with that thing, and being able to wrestle against some of the AEW's biggest stars this year in the likes of Bryan Danielson, Swerve Strickland, MJF. And now he's in the Continental Classic. Him and Kyle Fletcher had a banger. Him and Pac at All Out was amazing. Like, Ospreay has had some really fun matches for me. And regardless of how you feel about him selling, because we go back and forth on this, I love him. But I know sometimes he doesn't sell as well as he could. And even Alice has brought that up. But you can't deny the man's talent and athleticism and how much of an impact. He's had a really great year in AEW this year for 2024. Like, he has accomplished some pretty good feats and not even being in the company for a whole entire year yet. And I'm excited to see where the rest of, 2025 goes with Will Ospreay and what he's about to do in this upcoming year. But because I'm talking about a Will Ospreay, this does bring up my first not so great talking point of AEW in 2024. And it's been a big thing forever, which is the bloated roster and the inconsistency. Well, actually, no. I'm going to say that for another one. There is a bloated roster, but I'll talk about it a little bit. But speaking of Will Ospreay, this leads into my not so great talking point and the reliance on these more established stars in AEW. So like this whole entire year, outside of Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May, right now, the big key players this whole entire year were, if I could put them on a finger, included the Young Bucks because they dominated most of the year. Basically the entirety of the Elite did. Hangman and Swerve were being over-relied, and that's not a bad thing. But Brian Bryan Danielson, all of the Death Rider BCC crew. And that was a good chunk of our year because we were doing Danielson's retirement leading into the summer in October, and then everything that transpired with this. But because of their over reliance of these established stars, because I would see Orange Cassidy always on television this year, with everything that went down with the Best Friends,
which we still have no real.
We don't have no real closure
resolution on that shit.
And since the establishment of the conglomeration, they were put on TV every single week. In fact, sometimes they were on every single show for a good chunk of 2024 as well. I love Will Ospreay, but he was always on television screens, where Strickland, Hangman Page was always on our screens. Pac and Moxley and Claudio and Wheeler, I love all those guys, but then it definitely took away. And I'm glad that the second half of 2024 did what it did, because now Daniel Garcia finally has the championship. It only took 5 years to finally get Private Party a championship run, which was stupid in my opinion, because they shouldn't have waited 5 years. And I love them to death. And, Mercedes Moné has been almost on every single week of television since making her debut earlier this year. But it's been to the expense of other talent that we have, like House of Black really didn't get much of a shine this year. They were put in matches because they're reliable, but we didn't get to do anything with them. Christian Cage has kind of fallen off a little bit. He has his contract, but this whole thing going on with Hook has fell to the wayside. We don't care about this. Samoa Joe is busy, but Joe has been missing for a good chunk of the year too.
With Samoa, he's been doing a lot of Hollywood stuff, so that's
that's part of it. Yeah,
that's part of it. I just
want to, but you notice that I'm mentioning all these men's talent that are happening. We really didn't get to see much outside of Timeless Tony Storm and Mariah Way. The women got shafted this year. The women kind of did, in my opinion. They had some great moments, but outside of Timeless and, Mariah and Mercedes, where was Nyla Rose? Thunder started having stuff. She had a program with Harley Cameron recently, but she's been MIA for a good chunk of the year.
Yep. Harley Cameron
has been on TV, but she's only been used as cannon fodder to put over other people.
Yeah,
which is very sucks.
See, check out our 2024 best and worst podcast. But I will go to bat for Harley.
Same here. I love her so much to death.
Her backstage stuff, and even being used as cannon fodder. She has made the other wrestlers look good. Queen Aminata. Since her call up from ROH, she's another one. Now Britt Baker, who came back, Jamie Hayter. You do have a very strong women's division, and one thing I noticed throughout the year is that the women in the women's division kept beating that drum that, this is a competitive and strong women's division. I felt like they were saying that sometimes to convince themselves of that.
What competitiveness? You can't just give me one women's match a week. That's what it's become most of the time this week for AEW this year is that we're lucky if we got one women's match and one segment the whole entire year. And that makes me mad. Again, it's not fair to compare promotions, but when you have what is called the developmental brand for WWE have more women's matches every single week, and more than 50% of their 2 hours time slot is dedicated to women's wrestling, when you guys can only give me less than 13% a week of your total runtime of 6 hours of AEW programming, what the flip, you guys? It's not cool.
Yeah.
Or 5, I should say, not even 6.
CMLL has shows Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. and they all have women's matches on them. So, but I'm not gonna go there. What I am gonna bring up is my bad of 2024 for AEW, and that is the backstage production stuff.
Let's talk about the tea. Okay, so let's talk about this, right?
So the thing that kind of stuck to me is I heard in a report that AEW has something like 26 different writers all writing stuff. So when I heard that, I'm like, well, no duh that you get some stories that get a week of shine and then get like tossed to the wayside, and then another one, and it seems like there's no cohesion, and also like throughout the year there were just some very big like gaffes in production, with like audio cutting off, feed coming off, the picture in picture was a mess. I'm hoping that all this stuff kind of gets nice and streamlined, because next year they are starting the HBO Max,
which starts on New Year's Day with Fight for the Fallen.
Right, which starts on New Year's Day, and I understand that that's going to be a new thing. So you are going to have like a month, 2 months of like, figuring it out, but like I need to see some movement forward in the production regard. So
yeah,
go ahead, Mikey, with the tea.
Well, okay, so I want to talk about the other backstage stuff and all this drama that's been going on backstage with AEW, which has not really helped the product. So the three biggest examples. Remember early in the year that the Young Bucks showed the fight footage of Punk against Jack Perry from Wembley last year, and it really didn't do anything. But like they actually showed it, like, oh my god, they actually showed the footage. What the flip, AEW? What is happening? And then we talked about it, I think either last week or 2 weeks ago, with this whole CM Punk Ryan Nemeth situation that's been developing too. Ryan Nemeth, brother of Nick Nemeth, who was in AEW, part of the Hollywood Hunks and AEW Dark. Like apparently had like CM Punk had beef with him. But then the craziest tea is what has been going on the last week with Rey Fenix dropping hints that shit's about to get exposed when he gets out of this contract. He's been dropping hints on Twitter, and then they've been promptly deleted. Granted, this is all stemming from the fact that AEW has decided to keep Rey Fenix by tacking on injury time for when he was injured. So we're looking at about a year. Penta El Cero Miedo, his brother, is already a free agent. His contract is up. He's probably going to debut. We got the vignette last night on Monday Night Raw, so it looks like Penta might be making a debut at the Netflix Raw premiere, which I would not be upset about. But Rey is going to have to wait until he's done with his contract. But like, this tea is crazy, because I was just like, if this is true with what's happening, like with Rey saying this is like, I needed a doctor and nobody got back to me. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and then the whole thing where Tony didn't understand what he was saying and thought that he wanted tacos or some nonsense like that.
Ooh, I was like,
yeah. I mean, again, who knows how much is hearsay? Who knows how much is fact?
Right. I'm messy,
but like,
so I live for the drama, of course.
yeah, I'm definitely interested to see once Rey is able to speak out, what he says, and then what the response will be. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's natural that he had to take everything down, because that seems like, to me, that reads like there's a bigger legal thing on the horizon. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm like, it's about to get crazy up in here. But yeah, AEW this year has been plagued by crazy backstage stuff. And then, of course, we always hear that talent can never get communication across to the higher ups backstage. Like, backstage is disorganized and it's a mess, which then, of course, leads to the overbloated roster and what we've already talked about before. I feel like AEW internally needs to figure out what they got to do, because If they don't fix this right now, I would not be surprised if we started seeing more people dipping. Oh, and then the other bad thing that I'm mad at AEW for is like, why are you pulling Ricky Starks from GCW shows? Like, what the flip? So
that's
Ricky, but you have Chris Jericho show up. Like, what the flip?
that's again another wasted talent. You know, what? 2 years ago, he was on the Four Pillars freaking match.
I was like, no, that Four Pillars match was Jungle Boy, MJF, Darby, and it wasn't Ricky. It was somebody else. It was Jungle Boy, MJF, Darby, and actually, no, you might hold on. Let me look this up real quick.
All right,
I want to fact check this real quick.
Until I'm corrected, Ricky Starks was in that Four Pillars match. You know, this Four Pillars match that was built up. That
it was Darby, Jungle Boy, MJF, and Sammy Guevara.
Oh, Sammy. Well, even Sammy comes back from injury, and he's not to knock ROH, but
no, you can knock on ROH because they made him and Dustin the tag team championships. I mean, granted, I think their match against the Righteous this Friday is going to actually be kind of cool because it's a Texas Bull Rope match. Make the right decision, ROH. Give the titles to the Righteous because Dustin's contract with AEW is up.
Yeah.
So right now he's just doing this because he's a free agent. But yeah, let's do more with Sammy. Like, I was excited that Sammy was in ROH because I think he would do great. But like, we really haven't done much with him.
And then the matches that they had when he first came back and they were down in Texas.
Yeah, at the Arlington, at the residency they were doing.
Yeah, those were fantastic matches. He looked so good, and then poof, was there anything else that you wanted to hit, or
I'm trying to think? Well, I guess the only other thing, and this is not really a big thing, but hopefully 2025 we'll see something better for the trios division because the trios died this year, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, either get rid of the trios belts or something, because like we've been struggling to trios championships.
Yeah, and enough of the start-stop with the trios.
Yes.
Like you make us start to care about the trios. Like when it was House of Black versus Patriarchy versus the Bang Bang Gang, like you made us start to care about the trios again. And now and then when they were won by the at the time Blackpool Combat Club, now Death Riders,
we did nothing.
Well, there was dare I say, like a palpable excitement in the air, and then nothing. So yeah, we need
that's
Cooper
really
get off the pot with that.
That's the only thing I have to talk about. So
what's that?
Which was that the trios division. I hope they do better in 2025. But let's end this with talking about our hopes and dreams and things we're excited about for AEW in 2025.
Well, that's what I was gonna go to was looking forward. AEW has broken that first wall where they are the second longest running professional wrestling company on major networks, right? They beat WCW. Okay. They are, in most circles, even though they're looked at as the second compared to WWE, they have been slowly gaining traction, right? Will they ever be the juggernaut that WWE is?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
So.
Do they need to be? I don't think so. I personally don't think so. AEW has a lot of great things like right there for them. They have the HBO Max deal coming up. They have this show, which is still being shopped around, and we still really don't know much about.
Shockwave, yeah.
They have some great acquisitions in Ricochet, in the Hurt Syndicate. Like we talked about, all the individuals that came back from injury. So they're just really poised to have a great 2025. So I really do want them to fix whatever backstage stuff they have to fix, so then the in-ring and on TV product follows suit.
Love it. So I guess I'll end by saying mine. Of course, I'm excited to see where our champions go in 2025 because Mariah May is going to be revisiting Toni Storm at some point, which makes me super excited. I want to see Private Party have a good title run. I'm excited to see where we go with Daniel Garcia after the Continental. I need more Outrunners and MXM Collection on my television screen. Shoot, I want to give them a tag title championship run in 2025. MXM Collection of Champions would be hilarious. But one thing that's happening immediately in 2 weeks that has me excited is we get the in-ring return of Kenny Omega. Kenny is wrestling at Wrestle Dynasty against Gabe Kidd. And it's been almost 2 years since Kenny has been out with injury and diverticulitis and healing from all that craziness. And so the fact that Kenny Omega gets to return and continue to wrestle, and he gets to wrestle at this big crossover show in January, I'm excited to see Kenny Omega back on my screen. I'm super excited. Also, I'm excited to see Brody King and David Finlay wrestle at Dynasty. They're going to kill each other. It's going to be fantastic. Brody King in Japan just makes sense to me.
Private Party versus Street Profits. Never say never.
Please, in the true Forbidden Door, that is a match that I need to see happen like immediately. Montez and Angelo Dawkins versus Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn. Never say never. Like, that is just black excellence in tag team. I'm willing to see that. Like, never say never in a true Forbidden Door. That is the money match. Book it, Hunter. Book it, Tony Khan. You can do this.
Make it happen.
We can. But Adolfo, that's it. That's gonna be it. This is the last AEW show.
Yep.
This is your last AEW show. Just kidding.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, yes. Well, I mean,
you'll be here for World's End, so that technically.
Yeah, I'll be here for World's End, and you know I'm gonna pop in and out. But yeah, starting 2025, I will most of my energies will be put forth to our CMLL show. So just because
and MLW too.
And MLW and Stardom.
Yeah. So we're taking AEW. He's taking AEW away, but he's getting 2 more.
Yeah. Which sounds crazy, but MLW and MLW only is like once a month. Stardom we're starting out slow. Yeah, we're starting off slow with Stardom. The big thing is CMLL that, like I said, they are on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Will I be able to watch everything? No. Will I be able to watch more than I have been watching? Yes. So, and that, unfortunately, a lot of the air times go against AEW air times. So, and I'll be honest, I love me my lucha.
I know, which is fine, but not to say that AEW is going anywhere, because come 2025, I will still be here, which I know is not a plus for a lot of folks watching us, but I will be getting the professor back. So we will be holding it down, just the 2 of us, until February, in which we will finally get JVL back. And JVL said that he is open to do anything but ROH, which is another thing which will be announced during the watch line, but ROH will not be renewed for 2025, which is why we're doing more MLW and more in Stardom. And who knows where else it's going to lead. But that is going to be it for this show. The final AEW related thing for 2024 will be happening in 2 weeks on the 30th. So December 30th is going to be the AEW World's End review. Stay tuned for the social medias to see our predictions once that card gets finalized. But yeah, there's going to be Adolfo. I think it's time for us to get out of here. So should we do the thing?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
All right, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Johnny TV style. Sebastian! You're in the shot, you bald idiot! You fool! The other way! Go!
I never get tired of it. We'll see y'all later.